Hello wrestling fans, the Wrestling Wizard here and welcome to Wiz Reviews Raw in what was an absolutely stacked Monday Night Raw. So stacked, I've had to add a new mini-series to this week's episode. Now, let me explain. So, in a nutshell, if you're an Uncle Howdy and Wyatt Six fan, fear not, because at the end of this video, I've gone through all the devils in the detail when it comes to the latest Wyatt Six developments, the latest QR code and all of that. That is at the end of the video. But obviously, I'd appreciate you watching the whole video. It does help smaller channels like myself grow. It helps favour the algorithm, the weird algorithm on YouTube. So obviously, I appreciate you watching the show in its entirety. But if you do want to skip to the end to watch that, then feel free to do so. Now, where do we start when it comes to this show? Surely the talk of the town, the main event, Jey Uso. And by the way, I'm just checking my microphone's on. I did actually record this whole show before I'm doing it again right now and forgot to press on the microphone. Like, how heartbreaking is that? But anyway, back to Jey Uso. Main event Jey Uso becoming the new Intercontinental Champion, defeating Braun Breaker. This was a genuine shock. I didn't see this coming. We can't criticise Triple H in WWE Creative and the booking as predictable anymore because this was a genuine upset. I am so happy for Jey Uso. Honestly, he just proves that you don't need to be the best in the ring. You don't need to be the best on the pipe to get over with the fans. He connects with the fans. He's massively over. He sells a ton of merch. And do you know what? I'm just behind the guy. After 14 years waiting for a singles title, we literally witnessed history on this week's episode of Monday Night Raw. And I'm happy for him, honestly, I really am. Is this going to damage Braun Breaker? No. We're probably going to see Braun Breaker reclaim that title in a month or so. Maybe a couple of months. We'll have to wait and see. But for now, let's just enjoy what feels like a fairy tale victory, a fairy tale moment for Jey Uso, the new Intercontinental Champion. Wow. Now we've got to talk about that promo between Dominic Mysterio, Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley. Of course, Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan rolling up in style in that lowrider. I thought that was pretty badass. Their victory lap and all of that until, of course, Rhea Ripley delivered a bombshell. Rhea Ripley stated that it bad blood in the one-on-one match between her and, of course, Liv Morgan for the Women's World Championship. It will be, in fact, just those two. And it sounds daft to say because it is a one-on-one match, but there will be no interference, especially from Dominic Mysterio anyway, because he's going to be back where he belongs, behind bars, held in a shark tank. Dirty Dominic Mysterio in a shark tank, so he can't interfere, which surely means that Liv Morgan will have a plan B. And I think, and I felt this for some time, that a plan B will be a returning Raquel. Raquel sort of being almost like an enforcer to Liv Morgan, because Liv Morgan is someone you despise as a heel. She has that whiny voice, that really annoying laugh. And of course, alongside Dominic Mysterio, you just hate the two. Maybe, just maybe, we see a dynamic very similar to what we see with Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton over on SmackDown, but more of Raquel being this sort of enforcer, protector of Liv Morgan as part of the Judgment Day, potentially. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see it unfold. But for now, it's intriguing viewing, and it's nice to see a break from the Terror Twins and the Judgment Day going at it week in, week out. It's nice to see Liv get a little bit of spotlight on the pipe and also see Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan play out this storyline leading into their match at Bad Blood. We also saw Sami Zayn defeat Ludwig Kaiser, and then of course you knew the arrogant, full of himself guy you just want to punch at times, but you wouldn't because he's an absolute weapon. In of course Gunther, tease a match, say that on the very night there was going to be a match between the two of them in Sami Zayn and accepting his shot at the World Championship, and then pulls the rug from under him and goes, nah, it's not going to happen tonight. And you just hate Gunther even more, which is why he is one of the best heels in WWE at the moment, because you just despise the guy, but you respect him because he's just so badass in the ring. Eventually, we're going to get Sami Zayn versus Gunther. It will happen. I can't see Sami Zayn winning, but Never say never and all of that. I mean, there was a shock on this week's episode of Raw with Jey capturing the Intercontinental Championship, so shocks can happen. But what I really, really want to draw attention to is Ludwig Kaiser. Ludwig Kaiser is smashing it. He's got the charisma, he's great on the mic, he's fantastic in the ring, he's aesthetically got it. I mean, if you're dating Tiffany Stratton, you're definitely doing something right. You know, you got to be, haven't you? And so I can see big things in the future for Ludwig Kaiser, but in order to do that, to push on and become a credible single star, he needs to pull away from Gunther. So maybe in months to come, it will happen. And when it happens, it's going to be sweet. But not for now, because I like this sort of tease dynamic that he might turn on Gunther, he might not. But we need more time for the fans to get behind Kaiser, because a lot of fans are seeing his potential. And it shows. Now, of course, it wouldn't be an episode of Monday Night Raw without having Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman decking the living daylights out of one another. And not just one another, also the WWE officials. Bronson Reed literally delivering the tsunami to officials. I mean, that was a sight, wasn't it? I mean, that was so cool. But there was one person that wasn't happy about all of this, and that was The Miz. Now, The Miz, of course, was supposed to be originally facing Bronson Reed, but of course Braun Strowman got involved, caused the interference, this match didn't even start. But think about it logically, right? Miz was signing his own death warrant by facing Bronson Reed. He would have had multiple tsunamis delivered to him, just like what Bronson Reed did to Seth Rollins, and look where Seth Rollins is now, right? Surely, in a way, Braun Strowman did The Miz a favour? Am I the only one thinking that? Why would you want to face Bronson Reed? Miz seemed upset. He really seemed quite livid about it. But I didn't really care about that. The thing I care about is the fact that we're going to get a last monster standing match between Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman. The infrastructure of the next arena is going to get destroyed. There are going to be bodies getting battered. And it is going to be a sight we can't wait to see. Genuinely looking forward to it. Now, Drew McIntyre did cut another promo. It does sort of feel a little bit like we just want the match at Bad Blood in the Hell in a Cell match between Drew McIntyre and CM Punk to happen now. It certainly feels like they're treading water. They can't do any more to add to this build-up. They really can't. It was a short, sharp and sweet segment, but in a nutshell, Drew McIntyre promised to make CM Punk bleed. A lot. That was a promise. He's literally going to put his life on the line. Even Drew McIntyre's wife doesn't want him to have this match, but he's going to anyway. And essentially the two are just going to beat the living daylights out of one another and put their lives on the line. And us sickos are all down for it. In other matchups, we saw Dragon Lee defeat Carlito and Damage Control defeat Unholy Union. Not too much to talk about there, but there was one superstar I did want to talk about, and that, of course, is Xavier Woods. And you never thought I'd say that in 2024. It is really compelling viewing to watch Xavier Woods. He's like this torn, internally broken version of himself. And you can see where he's coming from. He's accepting that mediocrity is okay. And he's accepted that for so long until the point where he's realised he can do better if he becomes more serious. But there is one superstar that I want to draw attention to. And that, of course, is Xavier Woods. And you never thought I'd say that in 2024. I'm genuinely intrigued to see where this goes. Are we going to see a New Day split? Because we're seeing this emotionally torn version of Xavier Woods. Internally, he feels broken. He feels like he's underachieved to this date in terms of the single side of things. And yet again, the New Day lost. The New Day can't catch a break. Of course, this week they lost to American Made, a newly revitalized, refreshing version of American Made, which I'm loving, by the way. Of course, defeating the New Day, upsetting Xavier Woods. And poor old Rey Mysterio. I feel he gets the brunt of everybody's bad attitude. And of course, backstage, the LWO, headed, of course, by Rey Mysterio, tried to apologise to Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston, the New Day, for what Rey Mysterio feels was them costing the New Day the Tag Team Championships. And Xavier Woods took it as a personal insult. He took it as an individual insult that it was because Xavier Woods wasn't worthy to be in their presence because he wasn't a former world champion. And I like this. I like this built up, pent kind of Xavier Woods that wants to prove a point. I can't wait to see where this goes. Are we going to see a turn from Xavier Woods? Are we going to see a New Day split on the 10-year anniversary year? Be heartbreaking, wouldn't it? But I wouldn't mind it because it would feel fresh. But what do you think? And I've got another really, really important question for you. Honestly, this is life or death. Is this Alexa Bliss's Lilly doll in the background of the Dominic Mysterio Liv Morgan segment? Help me out. I honestly think it is. Is this potentially an Easter egg, a tease for the possible Alexa Bliss return? We'll have to wait and see. But for now, it can't be a coincidence, all these Alexa Bliss teases. But we'll have to wait and see where this takes us. But enough of that. That segues us nicely, of course, into the Devils in the Detail segment involving the latest developments with the Wyatt Six. Enjoy. So we got yet another Uncle Howdy promo, but this time with the words, "I am but dust, a worm, a rebel. You can cast your light of countenance upon me. And I said, I shall live the words of the red. You speak, we follow." And just like an RKO out of nowhere, we got a QR code. We speculated a QR code could come, and that's exactly what happened. And man, there was a lot to this. So when you scan the QR code, it takes you to a page named Recapitulation. Now say that after a few beers, and you can see at the bottom of the page, there's some clickable links. Now, if you click on the word elucidate, in a nutshell, it takes you to a load of coordinates. Now, we assume this is a full-scale version of something we've seen recently. And at the bottom of the page, you can see the Pluto logo ×5. So we assume that represents the 5 members of the Wyatt Six currently. Now, a massive shout out to Erase Your Mind, because he pointed out the fact that the file name is named Shema, which you could throw some words around and make out the word shame, but he would point out that the Shema gets its name from the first Hebrew word of the prayer, hear or listen, a translation of the Hebrew word Shema, which is really interesting because it certainly feels that Bo Dallas is connecting with the spirit of his brother Bray Wyatt and listening to the words of the red, and the Wyatt Six are following every word of Bray Wyatt's, which is really, really emotional when you think about this spiritual connection with Bray and the Wyatt Six. Now, a massive shout out to Slam over on Twitter X. If you don't follow this account already and you're over on Twitter X, go and follow it. There's loads of devils in the detail when it comes to this account. Now, Slam will go on to say, regarding the last 3 coordinates, Wyndham can be found at the first of the 3 locations. The second appears to form a cross. Couldn't find much in the third, but there is our father's house. Slam went on to decipher the coordinates and actually work out what these coordinates led to in terms of location. And if you go to the very first letter of each location, when you work out where these coordinates lead to, it actually spells out all in one, I hear you, which is really interesting because, of course, again, we assume that Bo Dallas is connecting with Bray Wyatt spiritually. Now, there was another clickable link at the bottom right-hand corner of the page, spelt remember. Now, when you click on this, it comes up with a picture of, and you cannot mistake this for anything else other than the black sheep in Braun Strowman and Eric Rowan in, of course, his white sheep mask. But more interestingly, if you click on the file name is titled 36. Flip that round. That equals the date of a tag team match that Braun Strowman and Eric Rowan were in. So some more connections, brother connections to, of course, Braun Strowman and the Wyatt Six. We cannot ignore this at this stage. Now, there was another clickable link between the 2 previous links. And when you clicked on that, it flashed up with a picture of Bo Dallas watching that TV screen, we assume, within the Firefly Funhouse. And it's spelt, when you flip the words round, people only see what they're prepared to see. So essentially, I think in a nutshell, there is something coming, something big coming that we never saw coming. And what I mean by that is I think we're getting thrown off the scent left, right and centre. What we think and what we speculate isn't actually what is going to come to life. And it's going to surprise us and come out of nowhere and shock us to the core. Now, if you click on the first line at the bottom of the page, it flashes up with a picture of the Wyatt Six family in the background. And of course, the words, "My life for you." I believe we've seen this before recently. And also there's another line, top line if you like, above that one between the two previous clickable links. And if you click on that, it comes up with something that I would not recommend in a million years playing in the dark or late at night, because it was creepy as you like. And it felt like a spiritual connection between Bo Dallas and Bray. And I'm going to skim through this a bit. I'm not going to read everything that was said, but basically this audio clip, when flipped in reverse, said, "We watch, we listen, we wait, we reveal him to the world. I hear your voice, you have laid out the path before us." Again, it feels like this spiritual connection between Bo and Bray, and Bo honouring the legacy of his brother and following the words of the Red, which is going to lead to a new character. I feel like this is going to be something big. And also there was yet again another puzzle. Now, to get to this puzzle, you need to click on the link "I am all of us," and it takes you to yet another puzzle. Now, again, another shout out to Erase Your Mind, absolutely killing it with these Wyatt Six deep dive theories. But the file name spells the word Akuo. At least I think that's how it's pronounced anyway, which translates to be endowed with the faculty of hearing, not deaf, to hear, to attend to, consider what is or has been said, to understand, perceive the sense of what is said. Matches with the other word found, Shima, which is really, really interesting. Again, more confirmation of this, what seems to be a spiritual connection between brothers. And when the puzzle is complete, it spells out, "It is another thing to meddle, and you are meddling." Who is this message for? Where is this going to lead? What comes next for Uncle Howdy and the Wyatt Six? Get down in the comment section. Honestly, share all your thoughts and opinions, your wildest theories along the way. Always really, really interesting to hear them all and your own personal takes and perspective on things when it comes to this. But I certainly feel that, in a nutshell, this is leading to something completely new, potentially a darker character, or potentially a tie-in and link to the return of Alexa Bliss. Thank you so much for watching the video. As always, it'd be very much appreciated if you could like the video, share the video, and even better, subscribe if you're new, and we'll catch you in the next one.